What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and another round of championship predictions. We do have time this week to run through round 5 of the championship and predict what each of the results are going to be. So starting off on Friday night down at the KCOM, MCM, I don't know what the bloody hell they call Hull Stadium nowadays. But we're there on Friday night as Hull City host Sheffield United, and for me, I can see Sheffield United doing a similarly professional, solid, steady job as to what they did against Preston on the opening night on that Friday night game as well. I mean, they're going to a Hull side that are a little bit all over the place this season, still haven't settled with Tim Volter's style of play, and Hull are an extremely blunt team. They've scored only twice this season. One of them goals was a penalty, so I've not got much faith of them creating all that much against a side that I think are just solid and steady and have started the season incredibly well. So for me, I can see Sheffield United going there and just getting a solid 3 points, clean sheet, job done, Hull City 0, Sheffield United 2. The following day, one of the 3 12:30 kickoffs that we are now unfortunately accustomed to, we head to Ellen Road as Leeds host Burnley. Now, this would have been a real thigh-rubber of a game, I think even a few weeks ago when the season really gotten underway, obviously seeing what Burnley went and did at Luton, for example. But I don't see Burnley as the same team. I'm intrigued to see what will come of Burnley here because they've had a huge turnover of players, so they'll be a lot more settled now than what they were 2 weeks ago. They've had a bit of time to get the new players bedded in, so I think we might see a more established Burnley team going to Ellen Road, but that doesn't still make me any more convinced by Scott Parker and the fact that his Burnley team have not been very creative at all this season. They've overperformed massively. They've been extremely clinical. I don't know how sustainable that is. And they're going to a Leeds side who have found their feet in the last 2 games with 2 very, very solid wins, who again have had a huge turnover and have settled. But I think they just look a slightly different animal, especially at home. So I've got no real fears that Leeds will win this one, and with Burnley's lack of creativity, I can't see them getting much either. So I'm going to go with a solid Leeds win. This could really separate the men from the boys, this one, in terms of who we're looking at for automatic promotion. So I'm going to go Leeds 2, Burnley 0. Then to Millwall. Now, this is a very, very intriguing game because Millwall, who have started the season incredibly well, arguably deserve a lot more than what they have points-wise. They're creating a lot. They are looking like a really solid outfit and a good outfit going forward as well. They host Luton. Now, I don't know if there's much of a derby to this game. Millwall and Luton fans might have to tell me in the comments. If you're Luton Town and you're coming into this off the back of an awful opening 4 games where you've lost, I think, 3 of them, regardless, Luton have got themselves in a bit of a hole right now. The one place you would not want to go after the international break is the Den. So this will be the ultimate test of Luton's character, their resilience, their quality, and their ability. It could be the perfect game for them in the sense that if Luton can go to Millwall, who are playing well, at a very difficult place, and come away with 3 points, it could be the perfect rocket up the backside of Luton Town, and it could send them on their way. Equally, if they were to lose here, it could be incredibly damning and it could pile the pressure on Luton even more. It really is that sort of fixture that could send them one way or the other. I'm very, very intrigued by this one, but going off of what we've seen so far, how impressive Millwall have been, how underwhelming they've been, I'm going to edge towards Millwall, piling the misery on Luton that little bit more. I think it is the worst possible fixture Luton could ask for right now, and that's why I'm going to go with Millwall 2, Luton 1. Oxford Stoke, the third and final of the 12:30 kickoffs, and another intriguing game for a few reasons. Firstly, we don't know what we're going to get with Stoke. You know, we have no idea. Stoke City could rock up and be absolutely outstanding here, or they could be utterly terrible. You really don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if they rocked up and put in a solid performance and won. It equally wouldn't surprise me if Oxford put about 3 past them, because Oxford are a very, very good side. At home, they've won both the home games as far as I've said about them and Derby. They need to rely on their home form to give them any chance of staying in the league this season, and I think they'd look at Stoke City, a team who we're thinking will probably be mid-table. This is an opportunity for Oxford to bag another really important 3 points, and I back them to do so. I just think Stoke are such an unpredictable and unreliable team, such an inconsistent team. This is the sort of banana skin they would slip over and fall right on their backside. So I'm going to back Oxford to win their 3rd league game at home in 3, and I've gone for Oxford 2, Stoke 1. Into the 3 o'clock kickoffs now, and another really intriguing game. Blackburn host Bristol City. Blackburn, of course, have started incredibly well. I'm so impressed with what John Eustace has done there. And it's always intriguing to see how teams respond after the first international break. When they've started really well, it's a case of can they keep that momentum going? It's a home game, Ewood Park, you'd fancy them, and Bristol City have just come off the back of a shocking 3-0 defeat to Derby County. So Bristol City are in a little bit of a pickle right now themselves with some of their recent results, and they, like Stoke, are a very, very inconsistent side, but I've just got a feeling Liam Manning will be demanding a reaction from his Bristol City players, and we can't surely see a performance and a result as bad as the one they had down at Derby. And with Blackburn playing quite an open game, I think Bristol City will get their chances. So if they can take them, I am going for a score draw here. There is a big part of me tempted to go with Blackburn, but I just don't know how long they can keep this momentum going, and there's got to be more to come from Bristol City following that Derby defeat. So I'm going to go with a score draw right down the middle. Blackburn 2, Bristol City 2. Derby Cardiff. Another big game for a team down the bottom. Like Luton, a tough away trip for Cardiff, going to Derby, who, like Oxford, have won both their home games thus far. And I think Derby's home record going into last season is really, really impressive too. So I'll say exactly what I said about Oxford. These are the games Derby will want to and will need to be winning to get them points on the board. And like with Luton, it's such a big game for Cardiff, coming off the back of a really poor start. I've said they're not bottom of the league. They shouldn't be. They're not the worst team, but that's where they are. So for me, if Cardiff want to get back on track and prove they are not relegation fodder, they're not going to be in a relegation battle and they don't deserve to be, they've got to get a result here. It's as simple as that. If they lose to Derby, then that will only reaffirm the worries that they are down there and they're in the mix with the likes of Derby or Oxford or whoever else is down there. It will reaffirm all the worries that I think a lot of Cardiff fans will have right now. However, if they beat Derby, it will give them the confidence and the faith that they are better than where they maybe are in the league, and it could, like Luton, be a kickstart to get their season really off and running. However, like with Luton, I'm not sure that will happen. Based off of Derby's really good home form, Cardiff and all the upheaval there, how things are sort of really up in the air and everything so far, I don't know. I feel like with Luton, the misery could be piled on the Bluebirds here, and it might not be a very ugly fallout afterwards if they were to lose down at Pride Park. So I'm going to go with a narrow win. I'm going to go Derby 1, Cardiff 0. To the Riverside, Boro, Preston. Of course, as always, I've done a more in-depth preview show on this, but the bottom line is Preston have started the season really poorly. I do think they'll improve under Paul Heckingbottom, and I think we'll see a better Preston side here as to what we saw before the international break. But their away record this season has been dreadful. They've lost both their away games, they've conceded 6 goals, and they're heading to the Riverside, where Boro are, of course, a chance-creating machine. Now, it's all down to the first goal and how soon this first goal comes. If it comes for Preston, Boro could be in for an awful, frustrating afternoon where Preston will sit back on that lead, and like with when Boro went to Derby, it could be a frustrating game where the door just will not open for Boro. However, if Boro get an early goal, the floodgates could well and truly open, and it could be anything. So I think paired with Preston's away record, especially their record up at Boro, and our home record and how good we are at creating chances, I think if one goes in, a few might go in. So that's why I'm backing us to win this game, and I've gone with Boro 3, Preston 0. Plymouth Sunderland, wow, bottom versus top. Well, near enough. Plymouth are the worst team in the league, and they're going up against the best team currently in the league in Sunderland, and I can't see any upset here. I mean, yeah, it will be great for anyone's acca if they can bet on Plymouth and Plymouth come out with a win, because I bet they'll be massive outsiders for this one, but I've seen nothing from Plymouth to suggest that they will get anything from this. They've got the worst XG in the league by a mile. They're joint worst for chances created against them with XG against. They just look bad. Top of the pitch, bottom of the pitch, going forwards, going backwards, whereas Sunderland are literally the complete opposite. They look bulletproof going forward. They look even more bulletproof going backwards. This would be one of the biggest surprises we're probably going to see this season if Plymouth were to win. So logically, of course, I'm going to go with a Sunderland win, and if Plymouth aren't careful, it could get ugly. It could get ugly. So I think Sunderland are going to undoubtedly go 5 from 5 here. I'd be astounded if they didn't. So I'm matching the scoreline up with the Boro one. I'm going to go Plymouth 0, Sunderland 3. To Hillsborough now, Sheffield Wednesday play QPR, and this is a very intriguing game because it's two teams who we've sort of matched up on the same trajectory, haven't we? You know, last season they both started badly, they both changed managers, both their managers did exceptionally well to guide them to safety with Roll and Cifuentes, and we thought they'd equally follow each other on a similar trajectory this season, with that they'd take each side into mid-table. You know, it's almost like these two are following each other up the league. However, QPR have started very solidly, have come off the back of a very good 2-1 win at Luton, whereas Sheffield Wednesday, barring the opening weekend, have been absolutely dreadful, conceding goals galore. They've not scored. I can't recall how many goals they've conceded. It was 4 at Sunderland, 3 at Millwall, and what was it, 2 against Leeds, was it? I can't recall, but they've lost 3 games to 0, conceded almost 10 goals, maybe 11 goals at this point. They need to turn the tide quickly, and there is no better time to do it than after the international break with a home game to just settle things down, steady the ship, and get things going again. So I find it really hard to split these two. I just can't see Sheffield Wednesday continuing to be as poor as they are, but QPR are a very solid side, and I think they'll get at least a point from this game. So I'm going to go down the middle. I think these two sides still over time will be there or thereabouts where each other are. I think they'll be very, very close come the end of the season. So I'm going to go with a draw here. Sheffield Wednesday 1, QPR 1. To Swansea now, and they host Norwich. Probably not one of the most intriguing games, actually, of the weekend, but you've got Swansea aside, who I very much see as a mid-table side who'll beat a lot of the teams near the bottom, but they're probably not going to be good enough to beat a lot of the teams towards the top. And Norwich are sort of in between that. I see Norwich as a top 10 team who might knock on the door and flirt with playoffs, but I don't think they'll get in them. Obviously, they're coming off the back of their first win under their new manager, and it wasn't a pretty win. Bit of a smash and grab at Coventry, but a win nonetheless. And I can kind of see them doing something similar down at Swansea, but I don't know, at the Swansea.com stadium, I feel like they'll give themselves more of a chance to get something. So I'm going to go down the middle with this game as well. I can't split these two sides all that much right now. So I'm going to go with the same score. I'm going to go Swansea 1, Norwich 1. Final Saturday game is down at Vicarage Road. It is Watford against Coventry. Coventry, another side, like Luton, like Preston, like Cardiff, who are desperately needing their season to get going, and they'll be hoping that the international break will have gave them time to settle down and really get things and have a bit of a restart from this weekend on. And we've seen Coventry in the past have really slow start, and they inevitably pick up eventually. Now this has to be a game where they pick up for me. You know, although Watford sit third in the league currently, they're not a third place team. I think they'll very much end up being a mid-table team. Looking back on this game, this will be one that Coventry fans will say, that's a game we should win. We should have won. We should be winning. So I think that applies here. If Coventry really want to get points on the board, get back towards the playoffs and get their season up and running, they got to be winning here. And I've got a feeling they will. I feel like Coventry will start to do what Coventry do. They'll just get going. They'll go up a gear, you know, and they'll still chudder along for a few weeks before they maybe hit top gear after the next international break. But simply put, if they don't want to give the rest of their competitors a head start, they simply have to start winning more games in this next block of games, and this is a huge opportunity for them to do that. So I'm backing Coventry to win here. I'm going to go Watford 1, Coventry 2, but if they drop more points here, Coventry, then this poor start and the anxiety around it will only drag on more. Finally, on Sunday, Pompey host West Brom. A game I'm looking forward to watching. And Pompey's tough start does not relinquish, does it? They host West Brom, who've been, I think, one of the more solid sides in the league. They're second. They're going about their business extremely quietly, extremely well. And this is the sort of game I can just see them coming away with a solid win, no drama. I think Pompey will certainly test West Brom, but I think this is the sort of game that is tailor-made for a Carlos Corberán tactical masterclass where they'll just do a job. They'll be solid, they'll take their chances, they'll keep a clean sheet, and they'll come away with a solid away victory. So as much as I'd love Pompey to continue their very good start, barring the Sunderland game where they pick up points against really top sides, I can't see West Brom giving them that many opportunities like maybe Boro did, like maybe Leeds did, gifting them chances that they took. I think West Brom will come out of this with a solid win, and I'm going to go Pompey 0, West Brom 2. So there's my predictions, guys, for this weekend's games. Let me know yours in the comment section below, and as always, we'll see how far or how close we get to all of these predictions when we round up all the games at the start of next week. But until then, enjoy the weekend of the Championship. It's back finally after this terribly horrible international break. So enjoy the proper football now that the proper football is back on. So enjoy your team, whatever game you are, wherever you're at, wherever you're watching this weekend. And until the next one, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.